Hello, world. This is the Brother to Brother Show. I'm your host, K-Mo. Thank you for taking this journey with us with real men, real problems, real solutions. Let's go. All right. So, welcome to the Brother to Brother Show. I'm your host, K-Mo. I am here and we're away from the house today. We are in Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania Avenue at his grooming. I'm here with Red, who's going to be one of our hosts today, as well as Rio. I'm going to have them introduce themselves.
Yo, what's up, good people? This is Rio.
What's up, everybody? This is Jared. This is Red.
Yes, sir. Today we're just going to have, conversation around one topic that I've been thinking about for a while, and I've heard other people talk about it, but also I thought this is just a really good time to kind of really talk about this. But we had a conversation in the barbershop last week, and Red allowed us to come in and really come down with us and just have a conversation around what do we tell our 25-year-old selves. And so when you really think about it, as men in this world that we live in these days, it really we had to have a conversation and say, like, what will we tell guys who are just kind of starting out, and where were we at that time? So I'm gonna have Rio kind of start us off. And first, Rio, just really tell me, man, like, where were you at 25?
Wow, 25. That was a good time in my life. I think at 25 for me, I've always been really kind of a focused dude, so I always knew what I needed and wanted to do. Especially coming out of college. So I was really focused on job and trying to be as successful as I possibly could. I wanted to get really involved in the community. So I joined a lot of nonprofits and a lot of organizations to try to see how I can extend myself within the community. Mm-hmm. But then I wanted to have fun. And so I enjoyed my life living in the city. Yeah, man, so that was it, man. I kicked it a lot, but I also did a lot. So yeah, I remember those times. It was real good times for me.
Okay. What about you, Red? Where were you at 25?
25. So, fresh to the city. Just got to DC, maybe been here about a year and a half, 2 years.
Right. And,
I was just honing my craft. You know, I came here to perfect my skill as a professional men's groomer. And so I was just perfecting the craft, cutting hair, playing music, and having fun, really. And, I was just learning a whole lot, new experience. So, yeah.
All right. K-Mo, what was I doing at 25? I'm laughing because, I was already out of school, and I remember DC being Chocolate City. And so those folks that really can look back and say, here, Chocolate City, and that rings a bell to a lot of different people. So me not being from here, and I've been here for about a year and a half, but I came here when I was an internship. And it really was an awesome time of, togetherness. I felt like DC at that time was, we had a really good time. There was never a time I couldn't find somewhere to go. Not saying that's not what it is now, but I just remember from a standpoint of a social scene, I was always on the scene. Like I always tell people now, I didn't even have any money then, but I went out more then than I did now to kind of keep up with that. But really enjoyed myself at 25, living in a big city, coming from a small town. I was, working on the grind, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. And still had that energy, still had that spark of wanting to get out there, kind of change the world, help out, do different things, be very active. And it was really all about not necessarily finding myself, but really just enjoying my life because I had been in school for so long, as those, many of us who've gone through, may have gone to school right out of high school and gone to college. You just kind of want to just celebrate and have a good time. And I feel like I worked really hard, and that's where I was at that particular time in my life. Now let's go into this. So this is the meat and potatoes of it. As we walk around, and this kind of goes into the conversation we were having last week at the barbershop, you know, what would you tell yourself at 25? Like, what would be some things that you would have told yourself at that age? Anybody could pick that up.
At 25, 25 years old, I would have definitely talked to myself about thinking about like a 10 to 15 year plan, where you want to be in 10 to 15 years, and then working backwards from that, eliminating, because at 25, I think you tell yourself, I think, at least for me, when I was 25, I thought forward instead of thinking like from where I wanted to be at 40,
right,
or even 35, and thought like kind of backwards from there.
Yeah.
Make sure and then I would definitely tell my 25-year-old self to, women. I'd have a whole like retreat with myself, talk about women and what and how there's plenty of time for that.
Right.
Because I think for me at 25, I rushed into, just wanting to really be whatever I thought it meant to be a man,
right.
Which is like, oh, you got to have a wife, you got to have kids,
you
got to have a house. And then you can relax and start working on whatever it is but if you don't do those things first, then what are you doing? And I would have definitely talked to my 25-year-old self about career, about work, and really telling him, attain what it is that you're trying to attain, so that you can get that off of yourself, because that's so important to men in general, is their career, their work.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't, if I could talk to him, I would say, get that accomplished first, so that you can at that point begin to branch out into some of the other things that you want to do.
So let's not leave that just yet till I get to Rio. So I hear you talked about women, but you hear a lot of women that may say, or people listen in general, and we may talk to ourselves now about this. Why wouldn't you have allowed yourself to really take that path, as opposed to other cultures that may say, hey, we can do this together and we can grow together. And what I'm seeing is, 10 to 15 years later, we're saying to ourselves, hey, why did I get this career? Why did I get everything I needed? And now I'm struggling, maybe finding that mate. How is that different from what you said with men and women, when women may say, well, to you at 25, I'm not sure. I'm just assuming, because this is what I've heard before. Why do you have to? Why is that so much important to men as opposed to possibly women? Does that make sense? Like you said, you mentioned, getting your career first. Why isn't what you said because you look at other cultures possibly, and they may say, hey, well, we can grow together, we can build together, we can do that. Why is that so different why is that important for you, or what you've heard growing up, and why would you change that at 25?
Well, because
do you think it's the guidance, or do you think that it's just you? Do you think you didn't have that? So, because what I heard you say was, at 25, there's something that you got that from. You graduate, you go off into life, and this is what you need to do.
Right.
Why are you saying that now?
Well, because that's actually that's deception. You know what I mean? Thinking that you have to attain the big three: the house, the wife, the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is so it doesn't have to come in that form. Right. I'm not saying that you don't do that,
right?
But you don't go after that. You know what I mean? You live, Mr. 25-year-old self,
right?
Live your life based off of what's actually coming at you next,
right?
And don't go searching for something that isn't quite there, because at 25, all I was into was my career.
Yeah.
But I kind of decided to put some of those things aside so that I could get all my little ducats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get my house, get my wife, do all those things.
Right.
Instead of just going at it like, you know what? I'm in career mode, full throttle right now. And that's where I am. You know what I mean? And living it just like that. Because what happens, you wind up getting all those things, and then you just go back to living in career mode. And now you've got these things that you're holding that need your attention, but you have your attention where it is, rightfully so. But hey, you know, so if that makes sense, I think that makes sense. So.
What about you, Rail?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think that being at that age of just being so siloed in thought, which is like I was going after something. I think at 25, definitely it allowed me. I was in a committed relationship with a high school sweetheart, and so I definitely, to Red's point, I had that idea, which is like, oh, okay, well, I got my life planned. I'm gonna, get married, have kids, have this great career, job, boom, 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 boom. And when those things then kind of fall in that order, or we kind of went off path, it then became even more consuming as far as like me being focused. And so it was more, I was really, really focused on me and how I can achieve the success that I needed. But I've always thought that, as a man, that we needed to be sort of at the forefront, at the forefront of the finances for a household, and be in that position, be a very strong position before taking on wife and kids. And so I think that's how we kind of get into that. For most people, I think that's how we get into that sort of, okay, I need to go really, really hard in these next years so I can bring success. But I actually see it being very differently now. I actually think that, God bless, but our women are killing it when it comes to, they've taken on that persona, right? And I think so, but I think that came from a need. And so you start to see this transition happen from our parents, where, women started being more in the workplace, and we started seeing our mothers do more than just be domestic in the home, right? They were like carrying jobs, tending to homework, also being active in the community and still being domestic, right? And so that whole concept of a superwoman came about. And so I think that fed into the lives of our women. And so I think it's actually turning on its head, where you get more women now who are, not just more educated, but they're more focused, more career driven. They're leading their homes and their house. So I was going to say, when you first said it, that, I think it's just innate. It's just something in a man that makes a man want to feel that way. But now I start to think that, like everything else, it has like societal
because it's changing now.
Yeah.
So what would you tell your 25-year-old self?
I mean, I was good at 25 when it comes to that still. So I think I would tell myself to continue on that path. But I would remind myself that, it's just money. And I think that sometimes when you're on that path, you can let money dictate how successful you're being on that path, right? And so it's like, since I'm making a ton more money, I'm wildly more successful. But I would say how much impact you're having, how much growth you're having as a person, is it even more of a benefit than just like the financial aspect of it. So I would tell my 25 self that, like, listen, chill, you're doing a great job, but it's just money, right? So relax, have fun, live your life, but it's just all in the ultimate plan for how you become a better man.
All right. So I didn't have a lot of money at 25 at all. So for some of those that know me, like at 25, and know that I definitely enjoyed my 20s. I had a wonderful time. I partied a lot. everything was legal, everything was clean. But I enjoyed my 25-year-old years, and um, you know, I can say from the financial standpoint, I really was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I think we all are at some point still trying to either find out what our purpose is. And I think at that time, I was doing a lot of stuff with my family. My mom was ill, and she passed away a couple of years later, but I was really dealing with a lot of that stuff. But I think that it allowed me to get away from home and really enjoy it. But I would tell my 25-year-old self to continue to have fun, have a blast, so that when you get to be older, you have something to look forward to. And I think those things will come over time. But I wouldn't change too much of myself at 25. I would just say make sure that I found the right people to hang around. From a spiritual standpoint, understand, learn, grow. I think I probably would have wanted to read a little bit more to have more understanding about just, what manhood really looks like. And I think I was just blessed, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't change too much, but fine tune some of the things that I had at 25. And just like Red said, maybe I wouldn't have said I would have made some different changes with women. I think that I honestly would have hoped to have been a little bit more mature, because some of those women I met at 25, I really felt like they could have been the one. But I knew what I know now and then is I had to have gone through that at 25 to be a little bit more mature and not mess it up, because I would have messed that up. So I'll leave that alone. But anyways, let's go back to, so, we all kind of encounter Society Day today. Real, you spoke about it. And I know, Red, you kind of come in contact with it probably a little bit more than we do from guys in their, early 20s. But what advice would you give guys that out there now? Like, what do you think they're really talking about? It's you think it's different than when we were 25, just talk about two things you would just leave with them.
Okay. Anybody in their 20 at the 25-year mark, I would tell them you are just getting started.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're just getting started.
Yeah.
Please slow down. You don't have anything to prove to anyone. You're still trying to figure out what you're trying to prove to yourself.
Right.
You have not figured out what it means to be, you haven't figured out your own identity yet.
Right.
Those things are still being formed. What you stand for, those things are still being formed. Most people haven't been tested. Sure, you may have had trials. You may have had, some tribulation, in your life, but most people have not had to actually make, decisions that actually tell you who you are, character decisions. So take it easy. Just gain experience. Stick with one job.
Yeah.
At 25, work at one place till you're 30.
Yeah.
Gain some real work-life experience. Make something grow.
That's good. Yeah.
And give to the people that are in your life. Really don't think too much about yourself. Think about what you can do for others, and that will garner all kinds of things for yourself. So little tidbits there.
Yeah, I think that's real good. I think I'll add with that. This Rio, I think for me, I think just staying solid, being grounded in your core values, I think is super duper important. Like, as a man, as you continue to grow, you're going to be faced with so many challenges. that are indirect to where you are. And I just think, like, you got to stay grounded in the game. And I think you got to really, really stay true to yourself in the core of your value set. I think that's super important. One of the big things I think is also real hard to do when you're 25 is thinking with your big head and not your small head, even when the small head is harder. I mean, I think, we all have been there, have a good time, but not too good of a time that you're sacrificing your future. I think that's super important. And the other thing that I think is, knowing your gut feeling and the difference between that and like your perception, of a situation. Like a gut feeling is more than perception. Like it's experience. It's sort of the spidey sense that you get, that's built through the experiences that you've had in your life. And so I think you should put a lot more attention to your gut, than quite often we do. If I had to tell myself in particular one thing, it probably would be take the job overseas. Take the experience.
Yeah.
I think, travel is like mind blowing. Like it expands your ability to learn and develop to a whole nother level. Right. And so even if it's like traveling throughout the US, I would say, I know I traveled a lot when I was 25, but I would say travel even more. Right. So take the opportunity. Don't be afraid. Life will still exist here. And so always jump on the opportunities that you have.
That's good. And I was going to end it. It's hard at 25 and it's very, very hard. But I think don't ever forget where you came from. Like even when you're, depending on, you're just getting out making money or you're not, you're just kind of like struggling. You're trying like even those men out there just trying to get on their feet. Know that the money is going to come. That's what I was told at 25. Know that the money is going to come. Just follow your heart and your passion with whatever you want to do. And the money is going to come. It may not come 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but it will definitely come. And keep solid people around you. Find a mentor. I always think that you should have a mentor with your personal life and with your professional life. So whatever it is that you decide that you want to do, look at that person in their career and make that person your mentor. Ask them, it's okay. And the same thing with your personal life. I tell people all the time, I have mentors and I ask them questions, and a mentor is always busy. You always want to find somebody that is hard to kind of catch up with you. So it's your responsibility because you want what they have. And it's okay for them to be busy. You can ask them and politely ask them, I would like for you to be my mentor. But at the same time, check up after them, follow up with them, see how they're doing, Mother's Day, Father's Day, holidays, and just randomly asking them how they're doing. And I promise you, those mentors will, over the years, drop jewels to you and help you grow along the way. So that 25-year-olds do not think that you're by yourself, because the world that we live in of social media and things being looks a certain way, you might be going through something, but know that there's somebody out there that has gone through it before that can help you get through those things. So I speak that through personal experience. And even when I'm talking to younger guys, perception online with how things look is not perception all the time. So please make sure that, stay grounded, have some type of spiritual relationship with whatever that might be for you. And then also put good people around you, like mentors.
And please believe that 40 will come quicker than you think. So take advantage of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So have a good time. So we dropped some jewels today, guys. Traveling, finances, living your best life, understanding, put good people around you. And, if you don't know, ask, because there are a lot of men out there that can help. And this is what the Brother to Brother Show is all about. So have a good night. Please know we love you. Work with us, be with us, and know we're coming from the heart. This is the Brother to Brother Show.